Lipids. Lipids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and a little bit of oxygen. Carbohydrates are made up of the same three elements, yet unlike lipids, they have as much oxygen as carbon. Lipids include fats, oils, waxes, steroid hormones, vitamins A and D. Their main functions are forming barriers and storing energy, yet they may also be signaling molecules and coenzymes. Because lipids are composed mostly of nonpolar carbon-hydrogen bonds, and because they have very few hydrophilic chemical groups, they're hydrophobic. Some can also be amphiphilic, a hydrophobic end and a hydrophilic end. Remember, hydrophobic means that molecules are not attracted to water. Hydrophilic means the molecules are attracted to water. Lipids are the one class of biomolecules that do not form large, covalently bound polymers. In contrast, polysaccharides, nucleic acids, and proteins are all polymers. Some texts classify lipids as polymers. Lipids can form very large fluid structures because they're hydrophobic molecules immersed in the watery environment of life. Lipids are attracted to one another and repel water. Hydrophilic interactions drive their behavior in living systems. Lipids form barriers. They separate watery compartments from their environments. Waxes and oils coat our skin, repel water, and protect the cells of our surfaces. Phospholipids are the major components of cell membranes, the barriers that form the compartments of cells. Lipids are used for long-term energy storage. Fat is the long-term energy store in animals, while oils are the long-term energy store in plants. Animal cells have evolved to store usable energy in the bonds between carbon and hydrogen, the main components of lipids. Waxes are effective hydrophobic coatings formed by many organisms, insects, plants, and humans, to ward off water and prevent dehydration. They often consist of two long fatty acids connected by oxygen-containing groups. Steroids are lipids with backbones made of rings of carbons. Cholesterol is an important component of cell membranes. Male and female sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen, function as cell-signaling molecules in reproduction processes. Cortisol is a hormone produced by animals under stress. Vitamin D in food helps animals build bones. Triglycerides are common animal fat molecules. They're the long-term energy storage molecule in the body and help with insulation and padding. Adipose tissue under skin has cells that are dedicated to holding vesicles full of triglycerides. A triglyceride is made of three fatty acids bound to one glycerol. Glycerol has three hydroxyl groups. It's an alcohol. The fatty acids are made of a carboxyl group and a long hydrocarbon chain, which can vary in length as well as the number and locations of carbon-carbon double bonds. Triglycerides are formed by three dehydration synthesis reactions. One molecule of water is released each time a fatty acid is joined with a glycerol. Triglycerides may have saturated and/or unsaturated fatty acid chains. Saturated fatty acids have tightly packed hydrocarbon chains. They're prevalent in fats that are solid at room temperature. Unsaturated fatty acids have kinks that prevent tight packing of hydrocarbon chains. They're prevalent in fats that are liquid at room temperature, like oils. Saturated lipids have the maximum number of hydrogen atoms possible. They have no double bonds in their carbon chain, and they're solid at room temperature. Unsaturated lipids have one or more double bonds. Oils are examples. They're liquids at room temperature. When hydrogenated, by adding more hydrogen, they become solid and saturated. Margarine is a spreadable fat that was developed during World War II in response to a butter shortage. Scientists hydrogenated corn oil to convert double bonds to single bonds, forming a solid. Yet incomplete hydrogenation leads to the formation of trans double bonds, an unhealthy byproduct. Trans fats have a double bond that results in a linear chain, while our bodies are adapted to cis fats with a bent chain. Trans unsaturated fatty acid, shown here, where the two hydrogens near the double bond are on opposite sides of the molecule. Cis unsaturated fatty acid, where the two hydrogens near the double bond are on the same side of the molecule, causing a kink. Trans unsaturated fats tend to stay in the bloodstream much longer than saturated or cis unsaturated fats. They alter the ratio of HDL, good cholesterol, and LDL, bad cholesterol. Trans fats are much more prone to arterial deposition and plaque formation. They clog and damage blood vessels. In addition to hydrogenated oils, trans fats are found naturally in some milk and meat products from animals. They can also occur when meat, dairy, and oils are cooked at high temperatures. Decreasing the consumption of trans fats is a healthy choice. Click here to see a video on lipids. Amphiphilic molecules have a hydrophobic tail and a hydrophilic head. The hydrophobic end repels water and the hydrophilic end is attracted to water. In a watery solution, amphiphilic lipids orient themselves so that their hydrophilic heads face the water and their hydrophobic tails gather together away from water. Phospholipids, soaps, and detergents are amphiphilic. Phospholipids, the lipids that make cell membranes, are amphiphilic. Phospholipids are like triglycerides, except one fatty acid tail has been replaced with a polar phosphate head. The phosphate heads form hydrogen bonds with water. The nonpolar fatty acid tails repel water and gather together. In cells, phospholipids form a bilayer, with polar heads facing aqueous compartments and fatty acid tails forming the hydrophobic interior of the cell membrane. The hydrophobic end of a soap or detergent is repelled by water, but attracted to other nonpolar molecules like grease and oil. The hydrophilic end of the soap or detergent forms hydrogen bonds with water. Many types of dirt and stains have hydrophobic groups. Detergent molecules interact with dirt, oil, fat, food, etc. and surround them, lifting them from the surface being cleaned. The dirt, surrounded by detergent molecules, will go down the drain with the wash water, leaving the surface clean.